are these things mutually exclusive? Could we not have zoning that changes to, is it B3 we're talking about, B2? B3, move forward with these buildings, simultaneously move through the zoning process to create this community zone, and then rezone all of our community buildings into that zone. Is that not an option?
That certainly is an option.
So it would move us forward in things that are already projected without having to wait for the zoning changes. But the idea of making the long-term fix, still doing that work to create those zones for the future.
That would work.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. I need to go back to the board and say that we're going to be going to the Planning Commission for a B3 zoning section, and then go from there.
The area that you're looking for is currently zoned B3.
You're set.
Yeah.
Not all of that property.
No, the portion that he's looking at.
The library.
The concern I had, and I know this has been talked about repeatedly, is a sense of urgency to get moving with these projects. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that if you wanted to move forward with that community zone and all the changes, it's going to take longer than going with the B3 because it already fits. And if that's something, we need a community zone, and if that's something that the Planning Commission wants to undertake, then that can be done at a later date. But if we waited for that, you're going to be out waiting on approval into early next year.
Yeah, well, we need to try to get our contracts set up in February.
I understand that, and that's why we're bringing that up, is that as we discussed, those intended uses are all allowable under B3. As part of it, we would just, those areas that are zoned industrial, just change those to B3 and move forward. And we discussed with the community development team that property that they're going to get donated across the trail, that they could get the authorization of the current property owner to bring that from industrial to B3, that would have further expedite the process. So we're just trying to get it moving as quickly as you can to meet your needs.
Am I in the understanding that you guys are working on your master plan next year?
We're going to be starting it in October.
As far as HRC, we would be glad to help provide and give you this information too, on our recommendations to give the Planning Commission and help them with the recent payment. They would like to.
Any information? Great.
More information, the better.
The other aspect of this whole thing is we're not only, when we're moving ahead, we're not looking at just our projects, we're working at master plans. So we're trying to look at all things that are coming towards us as a community of Cedar Springs, that we are looking at what's the best interest of Cedar, what might be at, what's talking out there. We've got a lot, as everybody knows, going on in Cedar, businesses, people moving in. I mean, there's a lot coming in. North Country Trail, by the way, is, they said, other than the signature on paper, they're coming. So, yes, that's good stuff. So we got a lot of stuff, so we're looking long term, not just for our project, but the community as a whole. So.
Mr. Mayor, would you ask them to come to the podium when they speak, so we can all hear them?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime if we call somebody from the audience, we would like to have you come to the podium at this case. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Any other discussions on this?
Just for the sake of clarification, because we've had a lot of talk about new zoning versus PUD, for the sake of getting the library going, I personally am in favor of the PUD. And long-term, new zoning, great. For the purposes of getting you rolling, I'm in favor of PUD.
PUD takes longer.
Takes longer.
Doesn't currently
Yeah,
exist.
what they just said.
There's a business PUD.
Okay. No, there's one PUD, period. One PUD ordinance that can be utilized by any developer. It's just the framework that you operate in. That's the best I can tell you, is that they can come, and there's a process to apply for the PUD. It would go through the planning process, and then come to the council for a recommendation of approval of that PUD. What the PUD does is give you some additional flexibility in the requirements of that zoning district.
But municipal buildings don't have to meet those zoning requirements.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They can, well, setbacks
Yes,
and,
yeah.
Okay, so what is the most expedient way to make this happen for them?
What we've discussed is, with the libraries, they already have proper zoning, overlay it with a PUD because it gives them more flexibility. If they don't want to do that, then they go with the straight setbacks, and I don't know that that's what you want, in terms of just going with the very rigid setbacks and requirements. And that's why we were recommending turn that whole area into PUD, because it gives you greater flexibility
And
on
that's-
how things are positioned and structured.
And at the last board meeting, that's why we said we'd be working with the city to do just that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Any other discussion on this? Hearing none. We'll move on to item L, a discussion to vote me. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
To vote on the naming of council comment to being the communication rep for the council as requested by Mrs. Conlon. I have asked her several times if she would write articles in the Post for us. And she declined. She said she needed your permission, so here we are tonight.
and I have been asked, you, Mr. Mayor, you were not the only one. Councilor Cowell has talked to me, Councilor Clark has talked to me. I'm very willing, I have, my graduate work is in communications. I'm very willing to do that. I just need the blessing of the council. And I'm very happy to. I would love to extol the virtues of our amazing police department. I would love to talk about our DPW, our wonderful fire department. I could keep going. And I would love to be that ability to create that vehicle in the Post, out in public. I do speak now when the mayor asks me to. But I would like to know that I'm doing that with the blessing of the council.
Okay, what is the will of the council?
Will this be a discussion item or a discussion?
Well, we
or
talked about it.
consensus?
I mean, you tell me.
Let me get, I'm going to do one at a time for the expediency. Mr. Clark.
There have been times when I felt like that if the council had someone who could speak for us in general terms, without saying, this is what the council decided, but that this is what's going on in our community, and I'm a representative of the council, that it would be us as a council speaking to the community.
Okay.
And right now, we don't have that voice, I don't think.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Paul.
Pretty much, I agree with Dan, and I'd be proud and honored for Pam to represent our council to the public or in writing and speaking. So far, she's done a wonderful job.
Okay. I'd be in favor of that. Mr. Hopkins? Mr. Nixon?
As long as it's just general goings on and not, this is the unified opinion of the council on this matter, because 7 different people, most of the time have 7 different opinions. I would be in favor of that as well.
Yes, and it won't be the opinion of the council, it would be just 2 things that we are working on.
Okay.
It would be not a direction to the way the council's going. It would be to advise the community of what we're doing and what's going on. To keep the opency and transparency, let the community know what's going on.
If you would like to create language that states that, I'm totally supportive of that. I mean, you give me direction and I will. And to the point now, what I've mostly done is talk about action we've already done.
Okay. going to vote on that, or is everybody okay with that?
Is this going to be up to a discretionary or a vote to be decided?
You have not decided
And
yet.
that's what he's asking.
It's a concession. If everybody's agreeing, we'll allow her to go forward. If not, then
I think we've all agreed that we support
I don't think anybody's opposed to it. As long as she's not committing us to anything we're not aware of.
The first piece actually I'd like to do is I would like to get with Officer Kelly and talk about the fabulous things that's happening with our sheriff's department.
our main thing is to sell the community all the wonderful things that we have here to offer. Would you entertain a motion? Well, this is
I'm asking how you want to do it.
We would have to, Article 12, first consideration. So we'd have to come back the next month if there's going to be a motion, or, which would probably be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Sure.
Next month, we'll have it on the agenda as a motion. Good.
So, in a month.
Okay,
I would-
item 10. Get ready. To create a committee to help the Cedar Springs Public Library with the capital campaigns and naming Councilor Clark and Conley on this committee as requested by Mrs. Conley. I'd like to set a committee to help the library sell whatever we need to do to hopefully generate more funds for them. Any issues?
The only issue,
Well, I was just gonna say, the only thing is what I talked about in the workshop is just, remember the campaign finance law, and, that's the only caution
Yeah.
that I would offer.
We'll be well aware of that.
Yes. And our main goal, and I spoke to the folks at the CBDT and I spoke to Don Clark about this, would be able to put a municipal name behind applications for grants, and I will be on the phone with the director shortly to say,
Yeah, that's the reason.
can you tell us how we can get some municipal,
Money.
city, state, federal, whatever, monies for a municipal library that will be city-owned and used by the library to help underwrite this endeavor. And that is one of the recognized or ordained roles of the city council, is that we may fund, support, create a library.
Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, when we're doing committees, we gotta go back to the Freedom of Information Act.
Correct.
Yes,
Make
they
sure-
all meetings will have to be open to the public, minutes will be kept, submitted to the city clerk. I don't know that we'll be in here and have them recorded. We had a conversation about that as a possibility. I'm not opposed. I
But
just
it
don't
will
want to be.
comply.
Right.
But yes, everything else will, and I'm open to whoever wants to participate. This isn't a,
Right.
but the main thing was I wanted to be able to add the weight of the city name behind grant applications for the library. That was my primary purpose of this.
Mr. Mayor? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just suggest that if you're going to throw the support of the city on a grant application, it should be coming to the council for a motion.
Sure, we can do that.
Yep,
Yep,
Absolutely.
we'll bring it back.
That's a must.
We'll absolutely bring it back.
Okay. We're all agreed to that, and anybody willing to step on to that, to be part of that committee, also let myself and Mrs. Conley know. Thank you. Now, item N, discussion to create a fire barn relocation committee as requested by Councilor Conley. Go ahead.
Again, if we're going to go to the library, we got to move our fire barn. And our fire barn currently is woefully inadequate. It's amazing what our amazing chief and firefighters do with facilities that are really not adequate for the needs that they have. And I don't claim to be any kind of an expert. I would really want the chief to, I just would be the council person to create the committee. And I would want the chief and whoever the chief felt was appropriate to be a part of that committee, and probably folks from the CBDT, being that they've offered to put up some money.
I would request some of them persons to also be seated. I had talked with Chief Frazier about this, and he has agreed. So,
As I offered in the workshop, if you would please council, I'll be back a list, a suggested committee.
great, council, for this. That's
If you prefer food made a month, that's fine.
That'd be good.
I don't know
Let's go.
if Chief Frazier's and
He ain't ready to pack his bags yet.
What do you want in that last week?
We'll have that in October. Little bag, huh?
little bag.
Okay, item O, discussion to remove the planter in front of the theater ASAP as requested by Councilor Powell. Go ahead.
Okay, had numerous conversations with Len Allington, and in his opinion, the planter in front of the theater is a tripping hazard and a fire hazard and all kinds of hazards, and he would like it downsized, and he said he was going to get all this information around and bids, and he got a bid for like $10,000, and he's looking into it. So at this point, I'm kind of waiting on Glenn and city manager or whoever to get together, because the time constraint is pretty much non-existent at this point. And he was in a big hurry to get it done while the road was torn up and maybe would have cost some money. So it's got to be put together pretty darn quick, because we got Red Flannel Day coming and we can't have that corner all torn up. So something to look at in the future.
Oh, yeah, exactly. This, and that corner will be put back together.
Yes.
And now that he's focusing more on downsizing, I don't think the sense of urgency is there. And as I offered at the workshop, I think it would be best if we look at budgeting that in our next fiscal year budget, and then we could get some quotes. Because right now, all we've got is what I just call down and dirty quotes. And, I think if we get several different vendors to come in and take a look, we'll get some good prices, and we can get employees to go on it in July of next year.
I think just having the discussion will make the theater people, more comfortable with what's going on.
Well, I know Len said that, some of the volunteers from the theater would be willing to help with the brickwork in there, so that would cut down on some of the city's cost of it.
Go ahead. Mrs. Nixon, you were patiently waiting.
Well, I know all public buildings have to be inspected by the fire marshal. Was there any mention of this in his report?
Len mentioned it, but it's a long time ago, and
From the fire marshal, was there a report saying that it was a hazard that needed to be?
not yet. He said in the past there was, but to the future, for this time, he hasn't got anything up to date, so he's working on that.
Okay, then,
So you have another question?
yeah, just one more add-on to that. I feel then that while I'm sympathetic to the theater's position, to just up with that amount of money to spend on a box that's this big, not budgeted, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why we're gonna look into it and figure it out.
Chief Fraser, you had a comment?
I've been in contact with one of the fire marshal and inspectors regarding that issue, because I got a phone call from Mr. Allington, and that is being researched.
Thank you.
One thing comes to my mind: if there's a fire in that building, wouldn't you want that flower box to deflect the people so they're not running out into the street? I don't know. There's several questions regarding that. So I turned it over, not being up on all the vocal codes and formulas and language of the fire services. I turned it over to a friend of mine, and he's willing to take that upon and research it and be back with Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
I've had many discussions in years past with, I guess, the theater manager about that and other incidents. The DDA did approve those plans to install all those planters on Main Street, which Mr. Ellington was part of, Mrs. Cartwright. They also paid for all them, and having said enough, we would appreciate that report back. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none. P, discussion. Video all city meetings that request the city manager and/or mayor and require city clerk to take minutes as requested by Councilor Powell. Some discussion on any of the meetings we are required to take minutes anyway. I guess, Mrs. Powell, on the meetings, would you consider
Just finding the videos to be so handy to go back and review questions, or what was said, or how it was said, or a misstatement. It would be, since we're going through all these fabulous things, the planning commission and zoning, it would be, I think, an advantage to have them on video so that we can review questions, answers for the future.
Okay. Any discussion from some of the members? You know, currently with council, we do the workshop in this meeting. The city clerk takes the minutes at the planning commission. I don't know what it would take to record that.
Well, the recording's easy.
Okay.
The work proposed. But the work is developing, doing the clips and posting them, and I would also have to do a little research. I don't know enough about YouTube, but I don't think we'd want to put them in amongst our council meetings and how we would separate those. I don't know enough about that, so.
They want their own YouTube channel.
Um,
No, I think they would.
Good, okay.
Well, yeah, and we have basically we have a city channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know enough about it. I have to take a look. I can look into it and get back with you.
Yeah, let's see what we can do next month.
Well, I imagine that the months where planning commission and the city council meeting are not in the same week, it's easier to do, but in the months when they're both, have fun playing with the computer all day.
Okay, we'll take
Mr. Mayor,
that.
I would just like to say, I've had so many people come tell me about how much they appreciate watching our meetings, which is, I don't know what to say about that. It's a way for our community that it's difficult to watch and admire. But, and I hear we're highly entertained, sit on your couch with some popcorn and an adult beverage, and enjoy us, so I've been told. But I just think it's wonderful, and I appreciate what our staff are doing to make that available for our community, for the people who can't be here at a given time and place and what have you, so that it is accessible. And I'm getting, I don't know if anyone else is, I'm getting a lot of feedback that it's valuable.
Nobody said none to me, so that's okay. Any other discussion on that? Mr. Taylor will bring something to us. Next one, I think we maybe can join them all together. Discussion returning the damaged red flannel poster to the artist. I think that's consensus. Everybody agrees to that.
Hasn't seen us out there in the hallway. Doris Vinton gifted that to our city. She created that poster. She won some awards for it, framed it, gifted it to us, and it got damaged. We salvaged it as best we could, and she would prefer it wasn't hung as it is now damaged. She has given us a replacement poster, and I'm hoping maybe at some time we can frame it and hang it up again. I do have that poster safe and sound, and hopefully we can store it someplace where it'll be safe, and go from there.
That poster's been here for at least 12 plus 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's been flying quite a while. So
I remember it.
Okay. I don't think there's any problem with any one of us returning it.
Would you like a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Get to see the new one at all, or not?
We're getting a new one. We already have it.
It's the exact same thing.
That's-
Not same.
That's the next question. So basically, everybody is agreeing that we will return that to Mrs. Vincent. Thanks. Okay. Any other discussion on just returning that damage? We'll do
Do
that.
you want a motion, or are you good
I don't
with
think
the
that's necessary.
Okay, good enough.
Okay, the next one is R. Accept the replacement poster from Doris, frame it, and hang it up at City Hall as requested for Councilor Powell. You already have the new poster, correct?
Yes, I do.
We would fit in that frame.
It's pretty beat up.
Could you, okay, I guess I'm saying if we reframe it, could you get a cost and bring it back so we can figure that out?
Certainly. She said she would sign it and date it.
Okay.
Could she maybe even come into council so we could thank her and
Okay, everybody agreeing to that? And Mrs. Paul bring back cost to see what it's gonna take. And we'll go with that. Any other discussion on that replacement and hanging? We'll have that next month, possibly. Next one is Friends of the Community, or excuse me, Scarefield. Will you come on up, Mr. Gephardt? And annual update.
All right.
It was just.
Thank you, sir.
You want to get it?
You
I'm sorry.
are rocking.
I'll need to get it. She used to never let me put everything on the agenda. That's what I got. Sean, you didn't call it. What? I didn't do it. Look, I even had it prepared by. You got copies of the liability? Backup documents for...
There's no more agenda.
We see you're getting plenty busy right now.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, about the recordings, I do agree with Councilor Powell that they are, actually, they kind of bite me in the butt because my board watches me, and I had a couple things to correct from the last update. One, I believe I said 6 toilets replaced. When I went to the meeting, they had a list of what I messed up. And I couldn't argue with it because they had the video. So it was 4. And they said, I said new countertops in concession, but I hear that I said like new, but it's like new. They were like new. So there, they'll watch that. All right. Now on to what we got going on. Well, we're going into the busy season, but it's also the slow season in terms of people wanting to use it besides Rocket. So Rocket has it. Their first game is actually this Saturday, the 12th. We got all 7 home games, so they start at 8 a.m. Last game starts at 5 p.m. Be done before the lights are needed. The week after that, actually, they've got a week off because they did get a chance to use Red Hawk Stadium. So they have 7 games at home at Red Hawk Stadium, so they won't be on there that Saturday. After that, 6 games home, Red Flannel Day. I am actually the scheduler now for the NRFL, which is all of West Central Michigan. So I had a little influence and was able to bring all but one of our teams home for Red Flannel Day, too. So now the one that has to travel has to go to Beale City, but I didn't have a choice. So anyway. So that's the schedule of what's going on. We've also got the Wednesday games, and I don't have that in front of me. We've got 3 Wednesday night games, which is 7th and 8th grade football. But I don't know what dates they are. It's over the next 7 weeks. There's 3 Wednesdays that they'll be home, 3 that they'll be away. So as you see from the financials there, if you look at the bottom, September 30th, this is projected balance. The expenses are actual and already been paid. There's 2 projected accounts receivable that we're supposed to get this month. Just haven't got the checks. We've been told they're in the mail, so to speak. One's West Michigan Hawks, and then Cedar Springs Youth Football Storage Rental. Any questions on the numbers there? Yes.
I'm concerned that you have a negative net, only for your survival, because I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Mm-hmm.
So is this only for the month of September? Do you feel this is going to change?
This actually, she didn't adjust that net there with the projected, because we only do it for what we brought in.
Okay.
Okay. So, and it still would be negative. You're absolutely right. But going from our influx of rental fees for Rocket and so on and so forth, which we've already collected, we are now going to be spending their money on them. So we will have negatives from now until February, and that's why we have to have reserves. Now, we only have utilities really for the next 2 months. Then after that, it gets winterized, electric goes off, water goes off, hopefully stays off this time. Yeah, we were $3,100 to the better, but we did pay that bill. So hopefully, again, the water stays off this time, and we have next to no utilities until our revenues pick up again in the spring.
But you feel like long term, you will be at least even?
Yes. And again, these numbers would be $3,100 better without that mishap.
Oh, that's true.
So, So, I mean, I think we're sitting pretty good as is. We're still on the hunt for sponsors and things like that, so we haven't factored, we've got a few verbals, if there's a couple more coming in, but we don't put that down. Right. Well, that's why I'm not saying them, because
If you're looking for sponsors.
right, yes, I should do that. But real quick, just to make sure, this is something else I got corrected on. I left some people out, so I'm going to do this until you kick me out. Scott and Rebecca DiPiazza, Phil and Shelley Shear, Amanda Bassett, Nate Bassett, Jeanette and Patrick Castle, Jerry Gross and his family, forgot to write their family names down, David Lang and the West Michigan Hawks, April Victorson, John Kangas, Stripe at Weingarts, Friendly Accounting, Laura and Pat Ensley with RE/MAX, all of them involved in getting the field looking the way it is. And some of you had a chance to come out and take a look at it. So, I don't know if everyone has. I know Rose has made it out. I know you're out there all the time. Perry's been there. I'm sure Dan's been out there. So, any other questions on this?
Anybody have any other questions?
Concession sales, do you win, lose, or draw on those?
We actually, we went on those. Actually, and what we've done, and we only get the concession sales for West Michigan Hawks. Concessions run completely by Rocket and so on and so forth. It's their revenues when they're in. Because what we did was, West Michigan Hawks were trying to start up. They didn't necessarily have the money to pay for all the electric, to pay for everything it took. So what we did was, they also didn't have the infrastructure to run concession, never done it before. So we said, okay, well, let's trim this down to what you can afford, and then we'll step in and we'll go run concessions for you. Now, we have to spend on that, but we profit from that, and we actually turn a profit on it, and that offset his costs to where he could afford the field in the first place. Now, we had to man it every week, but, I mean, that's part of doing business, so.
Well, Sean, I had an idea, of course, I'm not real good at spreadsheets, but I thought the idea was we were going to have a financial report as to the happenings since the inception of your taking this over. In other words, we're looking at one month here. Am I missing something? Maybe I am.
No, well, perhaps I am. I thought we wanted to see an ending of where we are. I wasn't aware that I was doing a full recap. Every month, more or less, looks like this, but I could print multiple of these. Matter of fact, if I had my choice, I'd have gave you the one from last month. It's much higher, but what we have, I mean, if you're trying to see who's paying us what, because our utilities are pretty much what the utilities are. The only unique thing, I mean, we don't have like the shirts, for instance. Let me explain to you what those are. That's a one-time fee. When we go out and do these things with West Michigan Hawks and so on and so forth, lots of times people are running around like crazy trying to figure out who do they get extra toilet paper from, who do they get whatever. So we got staff shirts from a local company, and it just says staff on the back.
I just feel like you're not telling us, and I'm not insinuating that you're deceptive on this. It's just that I thought this was to be like any business venture. We turned the Skinner Field over to you to have these activities, and you know, where's the funding coming from? And
well, and it's my
all this year, the outgoing monies. You know, you talk about concession stands. We sitting here wouldn't know whether monies from the concession stands, how they're allocated, or how they're in the whole pot. What kind of money is coming in from concession?
We have no paid employees. So we have no paid employees. As a matter of fact, even our landscaping person, which is Jerry Gross, by the way, we got the Weingarts donated the use of this $3,500 mower. Hopefully that's not wrong. I don't know what the price of the mower is. It's a very nice zero-turn radius mower, okay? It's not ours. We don't get to keep it, but we get to use it throughout the year, and then we have volunteers man it. Well, Jerry, ever since we got the new toy, hasn't let it go, so nobody else has really had a chance. So all we're paying for is gas. We're not paying him at all. which is about a $2,500 at least a year savings from getting a landscaping company. So we don't have any paid employees. Nobody from consent, it's all volunteer. We go and we do that to try to raise money to keep the field open. And as far as being more specific, if you've got specific questions, I can do that, but I don't, we receive no city money. As a matter of fact, all you do, you receive money from us in terms of utilities. Yeah, we pay you every month, whether something happens to the water and it's $3,100, or in this case it was $128, we pay you. So I don't know, I don't want to insult anyone, but I don't know how far you want to, crawl up inside this. And
Well, from my interpretation, President's Current Field is more of a community service, not business.
Sure. And if I may, only because we want to find out how we can support you. If in the future you had something close to a year-end statement that said over the whole year we spent X and we brought in Y, we just want to make sure you're sustainable. And we want to make sure that if you're not sustainable, we can find some way to support you so that it's sustainable. That's really, I think, what we're going for here.
As an example, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Is that doable?
yeah, we can bring about, I have no problem doing that. What I was wondering is if you wanted me to give you the accounting spreadsheets from each and every time we did a concession and how much we spent at Sam's Club buying popcorn. I mean, I'm not going to, we could do that, but we'd have to give it to you, yeah. I just don't know why that would be necessary, but I can, starting balance, ending balance for a year, yes, I can do that.
I'm not trying to make it difficult, I'm just wondering, do you maintain a set of books?
Yes, she does. She will answer that, but yes, she is. This is a summary sheet for us dummies at our meeting, so that we see what went out and what our final balance is, what's coming in. But she's our treasurer for a reason. She could give me sheets that I would have to get a translator for. She's got thorough records. She's very good. That's why I don't do it.
I
believe so, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr.
Mayor?
Mayor?
Oh, it's Kurt.
Okay. I was just going to say, if, again, to kind of expand on what Ms. Dixon was saying, we could better support you if we had some ideas of maybe where you're bleeding.
Okay.
So if it's things like, right, okay.
Literally,
I understand.
That would be the big issue.
You didn't, we didn't even know about that until I think last month.
And that was planned. We didn't want to come and ask for it because we didn't, especially since that happened right away. We're like,
right, and we
no,
understand, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, and that was a one-time hit. But if there continues to be difficulties with the water system not being functional or requiring repairs, or if we don't see that, we can't do anything about it. Does that make sense? Or if you gave us a breakdown over the year.
Right. And we came up with a budget at the beginning, and they were way off. So this year, our budget will be more precise because we've had a year under our belt.
Right, and that makes it a little easier.
Right. We have no idea what to budget for.
I get it.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep it short.
I just wanted to ask one quick question. Is Mr. Shear your treasurer now?
Mr. Shear is not our treasurer. No, Rebecca DiPiazza is our treasurer. He is actually, he's an advisory member.
Okay.
Yes, he's there all the time. He might as well be on the board, but he's not.
I haven't said much tonight. I was probably in the same mind with Mr. Truesdale down there. I was thinking that because, and I think probably the people on the council before remember that I was quite concerned with the idea that this is a public property and we are trying something here that's quite, in my opinion, unique. Manager Taylor assured us that something like this had been done in Alpena, and I think it's a great thing for the community to have the facility being taken care of. I was down there last week, paint's really looking nice. I would like to talk to Mr. Gross about the yard.
Right, grass. It was just mowed.
I know about that.
Okay.
But
that's a 2-year project.
But I am in the same frame of mind that I would like to see a more complete record of the finances. Now, as far as concessions, I'm not so concerned about that. You can lump that into a bunch. as far as I'm concerned.
What, are you requesting like an end-of-year statement?
Well, no, I'd like more than an end-of-the-year statement.
We get one of these every month.
Yeah.
If you'd like 12 of those, I can give you 12 of those.
That would
How's
be great.
Yeah, because I have one of these,
If you just
probably in the car, but I'm not going to get them.
send them on to
Okay, I got one more thing I just want to say. I'm losing everybody anyway. Just, yes, there was questions about sustainability, but it's been almost a year. We're still here, our balance is higher, and your property looks nicer.
Yes, absolutely.
So if we went broke tomorrow, your property's better than we found it.
Absolutely.
True story.
So,
This is right. Just to clarify what I'm saying, had the city or the council signed a lease with myself, and I wanted to put a concession bid, a merry-go-round and Ferris wheel and a lot of things like that, some of you'd be asking, how much money are you making?
we make nothing.
Okay.
Well, that's where the set of books will tell the story. And then
But I assure you, every dollar.
no questions in anyone's mind, just where you are and what you're doing with that property. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
It looks good.
Mr. Gephardt will submit those for us, that'd be fine, thank you.
As long as we have 12, Rebecca.
Okay.
I think it might be 11.
Whatever, yeah.
So that's it. Now do I have to present at the next meeting, or can I just drop them off so they can be distributed?
Let's drop them off to Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
email.
Email, however it works, we'll get it in there, and that way everybody will be assured. Okay, that's the last item. Now we move on to the
Sean?
Thank you.
city manager's report. Seeing as how the hour, Mr. Taylor.
Got a couple of things, Cedar Springs Mobile Estate, I guess state government operates a little different. They keep changing their course. So it started out in terms of providing a recommendation to the state on their, on Cedar Springs Mobile Estate's license. It started out we could weigh in on code ordinances, our code of ordinances, our building codes, and the water and sewer. They took away our local ordinances first, then they took away the building code, so now the only thing we can do is weigh in on our water and sewer. And about all we can tell them is we give them water and we accept their sewage. That's about it. So we're not going to have any impact in that regard. Now, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not. They've made significant improvements to the exterior of the property according to our code enforcement officer. He said the trash dump is gone, they're putting up handrails, they're repairing stairs, they're mowing the grass, they're really making improvements. And so he's going to keep monitoring that. The one area that we're not fully satisfied with is working with us on the rental inspection, so we're ramping that up with PCI, and if we don't get the satisfaction, we're just going to bring it into court and get moving on it. So we're taking a little different approach now, that we thought we had a better handle on it through the licensing, so now we're just going to continue and ramp up our enforcement. It's nice to see that they're doing some things, but they need to do a lot more, because we all want the same thing, and that's a good living environment. So we're working on that. A spam filter, for some reason, we are getting hit with a lot of spam. And it really came to a head with specifically our assessor, who's here one day a week. And he comes in on a Friday and he's got 150, 200 spam emails, and he's inadvertently deleted some necessary ones. So got a hold of Xylocat. They have a solution. They're going to install a separate computer and get it set up. It's going to be $499, and we're going to route everything through that and cut down. And just as an example, over the Memorial or the Labor Day weekend, I came in, even though I monitor it on my phone, I came in, I had almost 80 spam emails. And it's just getting overwhelming. So this will take care of that problem. The fire study with Solon Township, that's going along. 15th of August, they interviewed members of both the departments, and they're also scheduling either face-to-face meetings or phone conversations with selected or those elected officials that wish to be interviewed. So that's the next step. So that's moving forward. In terms of West Street Extension, I talked with the director of the West Michigan Regional Training or Planning Commission. On that, I put in that real basic grant. It went through the first committee. It was approved. It goes to the Regional Planning Committee Board as a whole. Would be the next step for approval. He doesn't see any problems with that. At that point, then we would meet with a representative of the EDA to talk more about the project and see how it might go forward. Again, the best we could look at is 50% grant funding from EDA. It's a $3.2 million project, so that means that we're on the hook for probably 1.6. We're looking for partners. I've already talked with Victor Hansen. He's in theory, he's receptive to helping out with the match. We have not talked numbers exactly. I've been talking with the Right Place about some other options, one of which would be MDOT has an economic development arm, and it's tie-barred into jobs. So that's always a possibility. So if, worst case scenario, if we had to bond for our portion of that, it would be about $120,000 a year would be our cost. It's significant. But, you know, that's going to be something we're going to have to look at. So before we file the final, obviously coming to the council with an update and get your opinion on whether we want to move forward. Council monitors, we had Xylotech in here. He could not replicate the problem with it going in and out. And the odd thing is we don't have the problem at Planning Commission. We don't have the problem at DEA. So the only thing that I can think of is the variable is our new camera. But I don't know how that would impact it. So he couldn't replicate it. He seems to think that it could be a problem with the age of the computer, so he installed one on Dan's and to try it. But has any of the council members?
It has been working spectacular.
Amazing tonight.
I mean, they're
For like first time ever.
Yeah. Playing on Dan's computer.
I don't know. So we'll see.
I'm fine.
But he was here for quite a while and just trying to replicate the problem that he could not. And like I say, further compounding the issue was the fact that it doesn't happen at other meetings. So who knows? So that's where we're at. Next would be our DPW report, Tom.
I just have one more thing. Had one more emergency expense this week. The variable frequency drive at number 4 will catastrophically failed. So I had Peerless Midwest come in and they're replacing it. Should be back up and running tomorrow. Cost should be a high level of about $6,000.
That's cheap. Yeah, and that's a real, and you're probably intimately familiar, that's a critical component of the water system. And we just could not go out and get bids and bring it to council. We just had to replace it as an emergency. So we tried to stay away from doing that, but this is one that, to protect the integrity of the system, we had to do it. So we move forward.
Quick question.
Go.
This would be for Tom and for Thad. I was talking to one of the guys from Dean's today, and he was saying, and I know you guys know about this, I'm just trying to get a dollar amount if there's any ballpark we can have. Coming down Grant, he says there's a county drain in there that they're having to raise the road up on, and it's going to cost, well, according to this fellow, quite a lot of money to do these extra things they're having to do on the Grant and Cherry Street area there. So what can you tell us about that so far?
All they're doing is going to raise the road level So we have enough base, we have about 4 inches of base under one side, 5 inches on the other side. Should bring us up to a acceptable level. And,
Over that drain, you mean?
yeah, it's really not gonna cost any more money.
Oh, good, I'm glad he's wrong.
Yeah, so,
Okay, good.
Okay. Any other questions of the Department of Public Works?
Any questions of the police? Fire department? City clerk? I would like Deb just to speak on a couple of issues. The big thing is that we're already over budget. 2 years in, or 2 months in, I'll let Deb talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I had that in my report. We had a couple things that we didn't expect. One, the red flannel money's not budgeted for, so that will have to come out of fund balance, general fund balance. And then we had the water main break at Fifth and Beach. That was $12,000 unexpected. A couple other maintenance issues for $7,300. Now the new one. So, and we're only 2 months in, so that's kind of a scary thought that we've already had all these unbudgeted expenses. So I just wanted to make council aware of where we're standing 2 months in already.
I think going forward, what I've talked to Deb a little bit about is maybe doing semi-annual reports, like in 6 months, here's where we are in terms of revenues, expenditures, highlight any areas that we're concerned with. We don't even do it quarterly, just to keep it going. But, we monitor it on a regular basis. We hope that over the year, we'll be able to see some savings and we'll offset it, but we don't know. The only good thing is that the majority of it is not in the general fund, but that's good for the general fund. Doesn't do real well with the other funds, but we have some fund balances that we could rely on, but we hate to dip into the fund balances because they're there for a reason. So we are continuing to monitor it.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question? Have you done any more figuring or looking at a road millage?
Yes, what we have our Hazer ratings, which is done by Grand Valley Metro Council, and we've got a software called RoadSoft, and then that can be populated into RoadSoft, the Hazer ratings, and then that'll spit out the information we need. We could do it manually, which would take
a long time.
Well, they just did the Pacers.
They did the Pacers, but so we talked to Grand Valley Metro Council, and they have the software where they can take the Pacer ratings, put it right into RoadSoft seamlessly, and populate it so then we can use it. And we're just waiting for them to do that.
Okay.
And then once we have the Pacer ratings into the RoadSoft software, then we can get with our engineers and take a look at that information, and that's going to guide us to where we need to put our resources to get the most for the money. But we have not forgot about it. We're just working on someone else's schedule.
Right, we understand that.
Yeah.
Just looking at budget, again, that's been one of the mayor and I's big passions, is we want to try to see if we can't offset our big construction money with some road funding.
The only problem is the millage gives us about $75,000 a year, which is not a lot.
Well, and that's why we need to figure out how much we would ask for how long.
We hope to have that
It's only money.
soon, relatively soon. That's the end of the report.
Thank you. Any questions? This is the point of the meeting where we have council comments. Mr. Clark.
I'm free.
Pardon?
I'm free.
Thank you.
Got the big flannel day, you guys. It's coming right up. And sweet and all that stuff. It's just so exciting and can't wait.
Thank you. Ms. Conlon?
I'm very excited and honored to be speaking this Saturday at the Capital Campaign kickoff for the library, and I can now say thanks to the mayor that Mr. Clark and I will be having another campaign for this. So I'm really excited to see this happening with the library. The library is a big passion of mine, and I am just thrilled that all of this is happening.
Thank you. I'll be in Tucson, Arizona. Mr. Hopkins.
Well, if everybody ain't doing anything tomorrow night, we got a Rain Barrel Workshop at 6 o'clock in Miller Park, and then we got an outdoor movie when the game stands tall. If you want to support your local downtown businesses on Saturday, we have sidewalk sales from 9 to 3. And the chamber is also working on the, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, the Get Caught Blue-Handed. It's another organization kind of like Small Business Saturday, except for this one is not just about supporting small business. This one's actually supporting shopping local. Their logo is Shop Nearby, and they have different campaign things that you can deal with to encourage your businesses to work together to draw in people to your community. So and that's not just a one-day thing. They do have a big day the same day we have Red Flannel, but we're not gonna promote the Get Caught Blue-Handed thing that day because it's like blue and red. Now it's gonna use white. But yeah, and then then moving on, we got the spectacular coming up, and then Small Business Saturday in November, where we're emphasizing hugely on shopping with your small businesses in our community.
Thank you. Mr. Truesdale.
Way past my bedtime.
Mine too.
Me too.
Up to you, Ms. Nixon. How long you want to go?
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Good night.
You got to go to work.
Mr. Mayor, a motion to adjourn.
In a second. I'd like to thank everyone for coming here. I think there's a lot of things going to happen, a lot of things moving forward. We see a lot of streets torn up in town. Be patient, they're going to be better. And thank goodness. I will be out of town till the 28th. So everyone have a wonderful day, and thank you for coming. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. And seconded.
That was hot. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
May.
And no. I will adjourn. We've made it past 10 o'clock. Thank you all.